We in this street. I did the one thing that dude told me not to do. Oh, that. What's going on? What's going on, everybody, man? Y'all know what it is, man. It's that 3KB, and we are back for another fight breakdown and predictions. A lot of fights going on. So me and my man, Prodigy, man, 2K, we couldn't do this alone, man. We had to bring the staff in, man. What's going on, fellas?
What's up?
Everybody in unison. Hey, what's up? Hey, guys, how's everybody doing? Listen, right, man. Okay. Listen, man, Bo.
What's up?
You see the title. You see the title of the video. Y'all see the thumbnail, right? Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez, man. This is a huge fight to start 2026. All I'm saying is we got a lot of fights this weekend. Bo gonna run them down. You know what I'm saying? But the one fight that I know you guys need permission to watch. You know what I'm saying? All you beta males out there that got to do the dishes, take out the trash before your wife lets you watch boxing this weekend. Make sure you do all your damn chores so you can get on that Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez. This fight is supposed to save boxing, man. We'll see what happens, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But before we get to that, man, let's go ahead on and kick things off at the 154-pound division, which 154-pound division, you know, man, that division is starting to become kind of live a little bit. We got a fight going on, big unification fight too. WBO 154-pound champion Xander Zayas is finally taking on somebody that we can say is of quality in WBA.
I disagree.
Say what?
Look, I already disagree. So go ahead, I'm listening. A motherfucker that has a majority draw against Sam Eggington? Nah, bro, that's not good. I'm listening. I'm sorry, bro. My bad. I'm listening.
Damn.
That nigga said disagree. Well,
he got the draw against the Mega Man dude.
My bad. I'm sorry, Abass. I didn't mean to disrespect you. A majority decision. Abass would be like, man, I won that fight, nigga. A majority decision. I'm sorry, bro. One judge called it a draw. My bad.
Yep. One judge did call that fight a draw. Well, he's taking on Abass Baraou. Man, look. Let me say this. I listen. I like this fight. It's unification. It's a fight and a step in the right direction. But there's a lot of things. There's a lot of nuance about this fight, right? Like Abass surprised me when he beat Yonas Tellez. But then again, you know, Yonas Tellez, he really hasn't been that impressive to me either.
No, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? It's like this is a dude that came out hot with all the, you know, it's like that chick, right? It's like this one chick that you like, and you see her in school and she looking good, looking hot. But when you see her after school, you're like, yo, what the hell?
I mean,
what happened to you?
Tellez only beat, you know, I don't want to say a washed, but a no longer invincible Sergio Garcia, which is that Spanish fighter that was undefeated for a long time over there, right? Yep. And then he beat Julian Williams, who was extremely washed by the time he got to him. So, and if you guys don't remember Julian Williams, that's the former unified champion at 154. I mean, he was extremely washed in 2025. So I don't really count them two wins. Canelo Castaneda extremely washed me. That motherfucker. I remember Kendo Castaneda at one point back when Three Kings first started had only had like one loss. Him and what's your boy Mario Barrios. They were coming up together. And Kendo Castaneda had one loss. Barrios was still undefeated at the time. Now you look at Castaneda; he's got 12 losses before fighting Yonas Tellez. So yeah, bro, I wasn't surprised at that either. Tellez was kind of overrated just because, you know, he's got that Cuban fighter aura around him. People were like, "Oh, he's Cuban. He must be good." He wasn't.
No,
like William Skull.
Come on, William Skull is not Cuban, man. I don't know what he is. You know what I'm saying? He was born on the outskirts islands, man.
Yeah.
can't get that nigga that, man. But I want to hear from the rest of you guys, man. How do you guys like this fight, man? Give me your guys' thought about this fight, because whoever wins, the winner of this fight, dog, they're gonna be viewed as the man of the division.
Well, just in regards to what you said, I'm gonna go first. It's a fight that needs to happen. Unifications are always a good thing, so I never complain about that. We can always nitpick resumes, so it is what it is. Xander Zayas, we've been waiting for him to step it up. This is a unification bout, so it's as big as it's going to get for him for now. And as far as like how I see it playing out, I see it being I don't know, because Xander Zayas, in his little bit of step ups, he's been somewhat disappointing to me. I don't know if y'all agree with that.
Yep.
Like he started out, he's sleeping everybody, but when I look at his sliders, everything just looks average.
Yep.
IQ average, footwork a little below average. His power even has turned out to be average, which was kind of a selling point when he first came to the game. And he hasn't really shown a lot of improvement. So a good performance here would help with marketability, because Top Rank had big plans for him, and while they've done a good job of protecting him and they've guided him to a pretty far point, it's time to produce.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
You said when you look at his sliders, so he got them custom 2K sliders where everything's at 50.
Basically.
Yeah.
Hey, so Jay, I'm gonna propose this to you, man, and you tell me. Because listen to what Corey is saying. This sound like, man, Xander Zayas, is probably maybe a better version of Edgar Berlanga, or maybe even Edgar Berlanga 2.0, but just a better version.
I don't want to call him that. I don't want to call him that bad. That's a little extreme. He should win this fight. Yeah, you know what I mean? He ain't riding around, you know what I'm saying? Making videos, all this other shit. But at the end of the day, like, he does have the skills. He's disappointing in what he has shown thus far. And what seems like forever, I put most of it on him. He should step up his competition. While his competition isn't the best going into this unification fight, I think that he can make a statement if he goes in there and he just completely dominates. Whether that's just completely outbox him, which he can do. I don't know if he will. Dude, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, but I know he is very durable. So, Baraou?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, Baraou. He's very durable. I was watching his fights. I don't think he has the power to knock him out, but I think he does have the power to possibly buzz him and make it a very entertaining fight. He should win this easy. If he struggles, then it's definitely going to be really hard to market him, I believe, going forward. Because then people are going to be like, well, who is he going to really beat? Like, that comes into the 154. So yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's a good point about that marketing. If he struggles against this fight, about that marketing.
He's on Top Rank fast, man. What market?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, Xander Zayas he is the youngest fighter that Top Rank has signed in the history of their program, right? I mean, back when we were, printing out, press releases like hotcakes and shit, back in the day at 3kingsboxing.com, that was one of the press releases, right? The first youngest before Xander Zayas was signed was Gabriel Flores, right? And then I think he got signed at like 18 or 19. And then Xander Zayas got that signed at 17. So since they've signed him, and then he's got, a pretty good, extensive amateur career, the whole point of what you're seeing right now, as Zayas being 23 years old, I mean, he's almost got the same amount of fights as his age, right? So when he fights Baraou, literally he'll have 23 fights. He'll be 23 years old. So they've been slow tracking him, I'd say, on purpose to set him up, right, in these kinds of fights. Abass Baraou is a tailor-made fight for a guy like Xander Zayas. I mean, I'm expecting a knockout in this fight, bro. He should knock Abass Baraou out. I mean, everything that Sam Eggington, let me say his name right, Sam Eggington. Everything he was able to do, I'm expecting Xander Zayas to do probably two to 3 or 4 times better because he has a much better pedigree behind him than some fucking Sam Eggington. You know what I'm saying? So he's a better fighter than Yoenis Tellez, in my opinion. He's a better fighter than Macaulay McGowan, right? He's a better fighter than those guys. So I expect him, especially being in San Juan, Puerto Rico, to dominate this fight and get this guy out of there pretty early.
Well, the way I see this fight, I mean, when I look at Baraou, how you feel? Baraou, the
Baraou.
African nigga. When you look at him, yeah, Baraou. When you look at him, he's durable. He's high pressure. He's awkward. He has a decent inside game.
Mm-hmm.
All that, I think it's enough to make this a competitive fight. I think when you combine that, like what Corey said, Xander doesn't wow you athletically off the chart. His IQ, I'm gonna say his IQ is a little better than what Corey says. I do think he has a decent IQ, and that's how he's able to get away with his lack of high level natural born gifts and shit. But I think he can box, and if he's able to keep this fight in the outside, he can pepper this nigga with his accuracy and stop him. But we don't know if Xander Zayas have an inside game. We always see Xander Zayas in a very slow paced fight. We don't know how he might react to a high paced fight that Barroso is going to try to force, and Barroso can come inside. To be honest, we don't know if he can do what Sam Eddington did, or what's the other guy, Jack Mukale, whatever. We don't know if he can do that because, like we said, Xander's been babysit. Like, I think Xander can do these stuff in spots. But my problem I always have with Xander Zayas' entire career is he do great things in spots, but he could never be consistent. Now you'll see great first rounds when he lands a picture perfect punch and drops the nigga, and then the next 11 round is a dud. He's not doing anything. He falls asleep. So I don't know if he can maintain a consistent pace. If he can maintain a consistent pace, this is an easy fight. If he can't, and he fights like we do, and he allows Barroso to get inside and rough him up and get physical with them, and he can't clinch his way out to break the action, it's gonna be a tough fight.
I got a question for you, Zoe.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Let me get this. I don't want to spend too much time on this shit because this is a smoking gun case here. So you just said you don't know if he can be consistent, right? Sam Eggington and Macaulay McGowan are the definition of inconsistency. Go look at their careers. So I understand what you're saying in terms of how slow he's been moved by Top Rank, right? You don't know what he's going to look like when he's under pressure, when he's, he needs to pick himself up, or basically make adjustments when he's getting hit, with situations that he didn't expect. But those guys are not guys that are higher level fighters or will ever be considered higher level fighters. And he struggled, at least against Sam Eggington, not necessarily against McGowan, but he struggled against Eggington. Eggington did beat Paul Malignaggi. That's probably the biggest win on his resume. But Paul Malignaggi was getting ready to retire at the time. Actually, I think he did retire and then come back, if I'm not mistaken. Or it was at the end of his career before he actually retired. Either one, Paul Malignaggi was never that great of a fighter in the first place, was at the end of his career when Sam Eggington got a win against him. So he's not a guy that I would say is somebody we can look at and say, man, Xander Zayas may not be as consistent as a guy like that when his entire career has been marred in inconsistency. And then I would say that Xander Zayas' amateur pedigree is better than Sam Eggington's professional pedigree. I would say that. Bet money on that, bro. That's why I think Zayas is a much better fighter than those two guys. What were you going to say, Corey?
I was going to ask Zoe if for Baraou, how does he close the distance? Because I think that's the only thing that might make the fight interesting. Like you were pointing out, they should be different classes of fighters. And I think the thing that is going to be the difference is that one actually has a tool to control the range. The other one, yeah, he's good at a particular range, but how does he get there?
I think he gets there due to Xander Zayas' inconsistencies, because sometimes Xander Zayas doesn't let his punches go. And then when he's not letting his punches go, sometimes he doesn't do a good job of punch traffic to deterring him from coming up. And his footwork is not all that special either. So I think on those dead areas, those dead spaces, Barroso will just be able to simply walk in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the thing is, it's a good test. I mean, Zoe doesn't have. I mean, his points are good because he's a young fighter. Like I said, he's 23 years old. This is a major test for him, right? I think that top rank, and think about Bakhram, right? He's the old man on the movie Undisputed. He knows, when he puts these matchups together, he knows who has the edge, who has the advantage, right? He's got that boxing mind where he understands what his fighters are going to be able to do when he puts them in the ring, especially guys that he's trying to save and market like a Xander Zayas, right? I don't think he would put him in a fight with Abass Baraou if he was worried about him being as inconsistent as Sam Eggington and Macaulay McGowan. You know what I'm saying? I think that the old man knows that Xander Zayas is going to dominate this fight, and it's going to be a quick way for him to be a unified champion at the young age of 23.
I bet. All right, so there's another fight at 154 pounds that I got a lot that I'm gonna say. I'm gonna try to keep it as short as possible. But of course, it's the IBF champion Bakhram Murzaliev versus Josh Kelly, and that has been a long time since I got that dude name right. I'm proud of myself. But I'm just gonna put it like this, man. Listen, Murzaliev, and I know everybody is looking at Murzaliev and saying, "Yo, he's being overhyped because of that Tim Tszyu fight," right? And
okay, I'm listening.
Okay, and that's what everybody is saying. But the thing about Murzaliev is, if you've been following him, I've seen serious progression in him. I remember once upon a time, he was a high pressure fighter, and he relied on his pressure. He's added some jabs to it. He's added a little bit of defense to it. He's added a little bit of defense to his game, right? Go back and watch that fight. Now, there's, of course, there's fights where you can look at where you're like, well, like when he fought Jack Colcay, you can say, well, that fight was close until he knocked him out. But you can see him going through the levels at that. You can see him going through the levels in that fight, and then it all came together against Tim Tszyu. But Josh Kelly, like Murzaliev, to me, the pressure and his punching, the power ability and his counter punching is probably to me way better than David Avanesian. And we know what David Avanesian did to Josh Kelly.
Yep.
Okay. Josh Kelly also struggled, and he fades in the later rounds, man. Go back and watch when he fought Ishmael Davis. Ishmael Davis was a dude that didn't even have an amateur career. And he barely lost to Josh Kelly. And why? Because he put pressure on him, and this dude faded down toward the end. Yeah, and then after David Avanesian, and this is what they do with you in the UK. They throw you in there with niggas that's like 12 and 20.
Yeah.
They throw you in there with motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Then they'll say,
confidence.
Well, here's a dude that's 18 and 0. Yeah, but that 18 and 0 nigga ain't fought nobody.
Well, to be frank, Bo, they didn't do that with Josh Kelly. Josh Kelly did fight guys with winning records. Actually, he fought a few guys that had undefeated records after he lost to David Avanesian. But what they did was they put him on the UK bum circuit. That's what they did. You know what I'm saying? Troy Williamson, Ishmael Davis, you know what I'm saying? Peter Kramer. That's what they did. So, and that's what they do. You're right. They put them on the bum circuit so that, like Jay just said, they can build their confidence back up, because at once they were, touted as like this highly respected fighter that was going to wear the crown coming out of the UK and possibly be on the world stage and beat some of these top level American fighters. But when he got knocked the fuck out by Avanesian, they were like, all right, man, come on back. We're going to put you back in the sand lot. You know what I'm saying? Play with your building blocks. You know what I'm saying? Get your shit back up. Then we can put you back out there with the big boys. And that's what this fight is supposed to do for him. But it's going to backfire. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's that. And like I said, man, when I'm looking at this fight, right, there's more things to me that I like from Murzaliev versus Josh Kelly. And one of the things is, like I said, Josh Kelly likes to he struggles in the second half of fights when Murzaliev gets stronger. And Josh Kelly is susceptible to the right hand, and he likes using his hand speed. But like I said, Murzaliev jab can interrupt that, man. How you guys see this fight, man? How you guys like this fight?
This is gonna be a typical Josh. What we've seen of Josh Kelly starts off pretty well in the beginning of the rounds, but then starts to fade. And with I don't know, I'm gonna kill this dude's name. What is his name? Monotaliev? Whatever. I don't know.
Murzaliev.
Mazalia?
Murzaliev. Yeah.
Okay. So that nigga, I ain't even about to even keep killing his name all day. He's a pressure fighter. And I love how he's basically stalked and he just gets at you. He literally will fuck you up with his power. And it wears on you. It wears on you tough. And with Josh Kelly, I do see him having some success early in the fight with his movement and there's the openings that he gets with angles. But I think that what's going to happen is that he's going to fade, and the nigga with the first the M is going to basically take over, and he's just going to pound him. I think he's going to knock him out at the end of the day. I think Kelly's getting knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a given.
Agreed.
Another one of those smoking guns, case closed.
Yeah.
Type of situations. I mean, Josh Kelly was an exciting fighter, coming out of the Olympics, and early in his career, showed a lot of flash and pizzazz, had fast hands, put combinations together nicely. Pretty boy in the ring. But at the end of the day, when he moved up and started fighting some killers that really wanted it, he started looking bad, started losing, right? A guy like Murzaliev is not a pretty boy. The motherfucker goes in there to kill you, bro. So, I see him getting washed just like Tim Tszyu got washed, got his second loss, you know what I'm saying, on his resume. I honestly don't. I mean, I think Josh Kelly can last about 5 rounds in this fight, but we'll see. But I like I said, I think this is a case closed situation. What they really need to be working on is that Josh Kelly Conor Benn fight that they've been talking about for like fucking 8-9 years at this point. That fight should be made at some point. Conor Benn don't want to fight nobody else. He's looking at fucking winners of Ryan Garcia and Mario Barrios. If you want to get him a real bag, Eddie Hearn, try to get that goddamn Josh Kelly fight. I'll watch that for sure.
Agreed.
When I look at this fight, I think Josh Kelly has the athleticism and the movement to make this competitive. The problem with Josh Kelly is if you make him think he's going to make a mistake, and then Bacon Ham Mozzarella, he brings a lot of pressure into the fight. So he's going to force Josh Kelly to think. And I don't know how Josh Kelly is going to be able to process information fast enough to react. And that's the issue with him. Plus, with the pace that Bacon Ham Mozzarella is going to set, I don't think Josh Kelly's gas tank is going to be able to last long. But I do think this is going to be one of those, for me, in my opinion, I think this is going to look like the first couple of rounds might look like a Amir Khan Canelo, where Josh Kelly's superior athletic ability is letting him get away with things, where he's able to land punches. But around round 4, round 5, round 6, I think Bacon Ham Mozzarella's constant pressure and then his underrated IQ, he's going to start countering him and he's going to stop it.
Calling this man mozzarella, bro.
Man, hey, look here, man. I'm finna go to my cat in my kitchen and give me some of that mozzarella, nigga.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah. So, my opinion, if that happens, Murzaliev needs to go back to the drawing board, even if he wins, because Josh Kelly don't have the footwork to do something like that. He should be sitting at mid-range distance, getting clapped. You know what I'm saying?
I'm the person Bo was talking about when they said people are overrated Bacon Ham Mozzarella for stopping Tim Tszyu. I'm the one Bo was talking about.
Yeah, yep. I mean, and I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I think it is funny. That's why I laughed at the statement. I don't think he's overrated for stopping Tim Tszyu, but at the same time, I don't think Tim Tszyu is that big of a deal either. But I don't think Bakhram Murzaliev has been talked about by true boxing fans in an overrated status. I think some of these guys that think they're enthusiasts might be talking about Murzaliev as if he's some sort of boogeyman at 154, but true boxing fans just really want to see him unify. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it's about. And like I said, against Josh Kelly, who doesn't have the footwork, but he has the hand speed and the pizzazz. I mean, I could see him getting the upper hand early on, maybe the first couple of rounds before Murzaliev adjusts, which it don't take long to adjust against Josh Kelly. I mean, we've seen guys who are C-level fighters adjust against Josh Kelly. So I think this guy won't have trouble doing that and puts him on his ass.
I was just gonna say one quick thing. Josh Kelly needs to get Floyd his old nickname back. That's bullshit. But
Wait, can I ask something? When I was looking at the face-off, Bacon Ham Mozzarella doesn't like. He looks really drained. I know it's still early, but he looks extremely drained from what I see.
Yeah, I mean that could play a part. I didn't see it, but if he does look drained, I mean that could be something that's a negative on him. But I still don't think he loses to Josh Kelly. If he loses to Josh Kelly, he, in my opinion, he should go back to the drawing board. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, depending on how bad he loses, right? I think he's I don't know his age, but if he's on the older side, which a lot of these Eastern European guys are, yeah, he should probably retire. Losing to Josh Kelly, bro. I'm just saying.
This is a must-need fight for him anyway, because you're right in line for unification right after this. So you do not want to fumble the bag in this fight. And quite honestly, you got gifted with a fight with a guy stylistically that you should beat.
Right.
He destroys Josh Kelly. He's not going to get in the ring with Xander Zayas if he destroys him. That's not going to happen, right? So he's possibly got the winner, Keith Thurman and Sebastian Fundora. Yeah.
Right. And if that don't work out, don't be surprised if Eddie Hearn throw him in there with Jerron Ennis, because that was one of the guys that was on the short list.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
So if he goes in there and blows him out, yeah, like you said, he'll get a bag either unification or in that fight right there, man. So I think
you nailed it with the Boots fight. Now that I'm looking at the politics, it's Boots.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. So on that undercard of Shakur Stevenson, we have a heavyweight that we ain't talked about in a long time, man. Let's give it up for old Big Baby. He somehow made his way back to the zone, even after popping hot and all that. Eddie Hearns must have forgave him. I don't know what happened. But anyway, man, Jarrell Miller is returning to the ring now. He's going up against a guy by the name of Kingsley Abass.
Trash.
I was just finna I was finna say, this is the guy they brought in to fight a 7-0 Jared Anderson. Like,
trash, bro.
Yeah. So, like, I'm looking at this fight. I'm like, man, if Miller loses to this, hey, man, listen, walk away and retire. And I mean, there is a good possibility he could. He's 37 years old, man. You know, he took a bad. He's been knocked out. But he ain't been knocked out bad, but he got knocked out by Daniel the Boss. He had a draw against Andy Ruiz where neither one of them dudes looked like they was ready for that fight, man. Potential upset, good comeback for Jarrell Miller, man. How y'all see this?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a potential upset only because Jarrell Miller is way past his prime, especially the way he looked against Andy Ruiz, Daniel Dubois. He's 37 years old. I mean, the guy he's fighting, who's supposed to be, a kind of a comeback fight, is younger than him. So, and Kingsley Abass is a big puncher, like most of them African niggas are and shit. So, yeah, this could be definitely a upset. Jarrell can end up getting knocked out again. You know what I'm saying? By a big punch he doesn't see, especially if he doesn't have the stamina. I haven't seen him, but I know he's come in pretty big in his last two fights. Like I said, he's advanced in age. His last fight was almost 2 years ago. I think it was in August of 2024 against Ruiz. So I would expect him to be even bigger as he's gotten older in this fight, which could be a problem on his stamina. eBay hits him with one of them big-ass Nigerian bolo punches and shit. This motherfucker might just tap out. So, yeah, it could definitely be an upset. But I think it might be exciting. I think both guys might be swinging for the fences in this one. I mean, I'm gonna go out on a limb, man, and say Jarrell Miller's done, bro. He might take a loss. Ibe is I think he's on like a 5 or 6, might even be longer than more than that, like a 6-fight winning streak, man. And he's active. He fought twice last year. His last fight was in September. So he's active. Jarrell Miller's not as active as him. Jarrell Miller's older. Jarrell Miller's coming off a knockout loss and a draw, while eBay's coming off like a 7, 8, 9 win fucking win streak, bro. Yeah, give me eBay by knockout.
All right, fellas. Anybody else?
I was about to say something about the ring rush, but that got covered like multiple times, so nothing left on that one.
Yeah. Jarrell Miller is that nigga cracked out. Was it Eddie Kane? Remember when that nigga was trying to get back with the group?
Nights like this.
Exactly. That's what this fight is, bro. That's exactly what this fight is. So if he get knocked out, he might as well just walk out, and he ain't coming back. They just walked off. That's exactly what this fight is.
You know, it's funny. Listen to Bo do the preview of it. I was sitting there thinking, this is who Wilder should have fought instead of Chisora, and because the press conferences would have been more fun, and you'd have a dude that's super washed.
Yeah.
And he has enough of a name that there's value to putting him in the dirt. So thanks, Bo, for pointing that out. But yeah, that would have been the move. Put Wilder in with Miller.
Yep.
I'm picking Miller. I think Miller's gonna establish front foot pressure. He's gonna get hit, but I do think he's gonna establish front foot pressure, crowd him, and just beat him up for 12 rounds. This is the same nigga that got knocked out by the other baby Miller, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That's him.
Yeah.
Man, that nigga is fucking weak and soft, nigga. I don't care how old this big baby is. He still have enough HGH from 5 years ago in his body to get the job done.
Yeah, he got knocked out by Jared Anderson 5 years ago. That's a long time. He actually hasn't lost a fight since. That's a long time.
He ain't beat nobody of consequence.
Neither has Jarrell Miller.
I mean, a lot of people might argue that he won the Andy Cruz fight, and at the very least, a lot of people might argue that the Dubois fight was extremely competitive. Dubois had to make a comeback to win. That's better than anything this motherfucker did in those 9 wins, dog, against fucking niggas from Turkey and shit.
That's a good point. Yeah.
No. I mean, that's a good point. But ever since that end, but here's the thing: ever since that Jarrell Miller fight, ever since that Dubois fight, you have to understand. I felt like that fight took something out of him because in that Andy Ruiz fight, I saw nothing of what I saw what he did in that Dubois fight.
I mean, I think the Lucas Brown took some shit out of him because that Lucas Brown fight was pretty competitive before he knocked Brown out, and Brown was, man, that nigga was way past super wash, man. Like he's Australian. You know they don't last very long. So that shit was a super washed Australian nigga. That's double negatives, and he still was struggling with him. So I think that fight took a lot out of him. That was 3 years ago, man.
Yeah, agreed. But like we said, man, if Miller loses this fight, especially if he gets knocked out, yeah, he's done. All right, man. So now we have a title fight at the middleweight division. Our favorite division as always, man. We got our boy. All right, hold on. Let me slow down. We got the WBC middleweight.
Yeah, slow that down, bro. You get that our boy from.
By sneaking that Hispanic loyalty.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna be there soon, so you know what I'm saying. I gotta give a little bit of prop. All right, but we got the WBC champion Carlos Adames. He's taking on Austin Ammo Williams. Here's the thing, man. Listen, this should be a fight that Carlos Adames should really be showing us something, right? I mean, that Hamza Shiraz fight, I thought he won that fight, right? I was actually disappointed when he lost to Patrick Teixeira back in 2019. That was a fight I thought he should have won. But he's been on a nice run, even if you want to say he fought guys that might have been a little past, especially when you talk about Julian Williams, Terrell Gaja, and then, like I said, Hamza Shiraz. He should have won that fight. But the thing about Ammo Williams is I saw something fractured in him in that Shiraz fight mentally. And then, of course, they did what they do. You know what I'm saying? They take him on that, that circuit where you fight a few bombs to get your confidence up. But I just don't think that that's enough for him to win against Carlos Adames. If Carlos Adames start putting it on him, we can see Austin Williams revert back to that Shiraz fight, man. I like this fight. I think it's a good fight at middleweight. It's a fight that probably definitely needs to happen. But I got Carlos Adames in this fight, man. How y'all feel, man?
I think Austin Williams, he's unconventional. He has this weird ass way of boxing that's it's strange, it's awkward. He has good power. He's good at on the outside. But I think Adames high pressure, once you start putting that pressure on him, I think all that's gonna fall apart. He's gonna resort to the worst versions of him that we've seen. And if I'm thinking round seven, Adames is finally gonna get to him with the pressure. But I do think he's gonna be able to bank some rounds in early, just to being awkward, just to be awkward and keeping the fight on the outside. And he does. I think his power will be enough to not make Adames completely reckless. But I do think eventually Adames is gonna take him out in round 7.
Yeah, Ammo Williams reminds me, and I'm not talking about the way they fight. They don't fight the same way at all. But in terms of when you see him fight, you think he could be a problem in the division that he's in, and he very well should be, right? He reminds me of Jermaine Ortiz, bro, and that's who we're going to be talking about later. But the thing is you look at him, you're like, man, this dude should be trouble for the champions at 160, right? But he just won't be. You know what I'm saying? Like, Hamza Shiraz beat the dog shit out this boy, man. Just overwhelmed him and beat the dog shit out of him, right? When it comes to Carlos Adames, I was pulling for him. Like, I thought he was going to be something. I think the Patrick Teixeira fight was a testament of how 154 was too low for him. Since he's moved up from 154, he's actually looked very nice at 160. Just, the blip on his record against Hamza Shiraz, where Bo eloquently stated that, he had some mental issues in that fight. But those are going to be learning curves for a guy that, isn't really didn't have an extensive amateur career to talk about, who's coming into a division and trying to take over that division, as there's not as much competition as there was at 154 when he was there. So I think that at 160, this is the weight he needs to stay at. He needs to defend that WBC title a few times. I think he should get past Austin Williams, because Austin Williams is going to be like a let him down Philly fighter, but he's from Texas. He's from Austin, I believe. You know what I'm saying? So he's like a let him down Philly fighter, dog. So he'll come out there, he'll look good. You'll be like, man, Austin Williams doing good. And then all of a sudden it's all going to come crashing down. And Carlos Adames is going to take over, especially what I agree with what Zoe said in terms of that pressure. That's going to be a bad thing for Austin. It's going to put him on his back foot, just like Shiraz was able to do when he got his combinations off. And he's going to take over because Austin Williams can't fight off the back foot. So, yeah, I got Adames in this fight. I think he goes on with the man, I can't think of my guy's name, the guy that popped out at 160. Janibek, yeah, with Janibek popping hot and his future looking uncertain. I think Carlos Adames can easily take over the 160-pound division. There's really nobody there at this point in time. It's almost as bad as Gennady Golovkin's reign at 160. You know what I'm saying? All those years. So, yeah, it's either as bad or maybe even be worse than that, depending on what type of fan you are in the sport and how much you know about that history. But at the end of the day, Adames should take over. After this fight, I'd like to see him fight Hamza Shiraz again. Shiraz is my guy. I think Shiraz is the dude at 160, but Adames is definitely there. I agree with Bo when he said he thinks Adames should have won that first fight. I believe that. I think a rematch would be excellent. That's the fight they should be targeting next after this.
Isn't Shiraz at 168?
Hold on one second. I just want to say I'm going to save Texas, and I hate to do this, but Williams is from fucking Milwaukee.
Oh, no, Williams was training out of Austin.
Yeah, but he's from Milwaukee. The nigga from the Midwest, man.
He was born in Milwaukee. So
right.
But I think he was raised in Texas.
Right.
So yeah, I won't do y'all like that. We'll take the blow in Texas, though. We'll take it. And to answer
Isn't Shiraz at 168?
Yeah. To answer the question, he's at 168. but a Carlos Adames fight, they put the money up, right? Because Adames is fighting for Riyadh, right? They put the money up. They can get him back down there.
Right. Hey, so the next person who goes, talk a little bit about the fight, but also talk about what could be next for him, because I wouldn't mind Carlos Adames versus Edislandi Lara at 160.
Yeah.
Adames and Laura?
Yeah.
Man, Laura's like 72 years old, man. I don't want to
Hey, but check it. Hey, at least you don't look like Frank Sanchez.
Yeah, right. That's true. He still look better than Frank Sanchez. That's
Sanchez
such
got
a
that Uncle Phil look. Boy.
I don't know. Arislandi Lara got that Fred Sanford head going on.
Yes,
now.
he does. I remember when he beat Danny Garcia and he walked away after putting him down. I think he put him down, or maybe the ref called it. I don't remember, but he was walking away, and I remember I took a screenshot of that and posted that motherfucker on Facebook and circled that ball spot, dog. I said, Danny Garcia lost to an AARP member, nigga. This motherfucker getting Social Security. You know what I'm saying? He got the jitterbug phone and shit.
Wow.
Jesus when he sits down.
Right. Motherfucker got a hover round and shit. You lost to this dude, bro. Hell no.
Nigga said a hover round.
The crazy part, he got walked down and beaten up like a little kid.
Yes,
too.
he got walked down. Exactly, bro. That's the bad part. Walked his ass down like he was a young fella, bro. And Danny Garcia was the old nigga. Exactly. Embarrassing.
All right, that's it. Ain't anybody got nothing else to say, man? What you think?
Man, 2K took up everything, bro. Like honestly, look, let me speak, bro. I think Williams, he's gonna have a nice few rounds. Maybe I give him about 4 rounds before I think Adames is gonna just take over. I think that pressure, like you guys said, is going to revert Williams back to being on that back foot, and he cannot fight off the back foot. And I believe that Adames will probably most likely stop him at some point in the late rounds.
All right, I like that. All right, so there's another title fight on there, man. Of course, y'all know Bruce Shoo Carrington is going to be fighting for the title. First title fight, actually. This fight right here, man, listen, and I know everybody's looking at Carlos Castro and they like, oh man, he should get by him. No, listen, Carlos Castro is a dude that if you ain't got your A game, he will give you problems. Even if you look at the guys he lost to, I think he lost to Neary, Figueroa, and Fulton. He lost by split decision against Neary and Fulton, and before getting knocked out by Figueroa, that was still a competitive fight. If Bruce Shoo Carrington don't come in and take this fight seriously, Carlos Castro is the type of dude, man, that could wind up winning the fight, or at the very least make Shoo, not look like Gumshoe, and that could be a bad look for him. This is a different type of guy that he's fought. He's fighting a guy that has that championship experience. He's fighting a guy that does have a decent amount of power, man. How do you guys see this fight?
I remember back when Three Kings Boxing just started, one of my first pieces that I was going to write on, it was a prospect watch. It was actually on Carlos Castro, and I never actually finished that motherfucker, man. I was, when it first started, there's a lot of overhead that you have to be responsible for, getting things started up and shit. So I never actually got back to it. And by the time I wanted to actually write it, he ended up losing to Louis Neary. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of left it alone. Then after that, it was Brandon Figueroa. And then, at that point, you get, 2 opportunities like that. It's kind of fallen by the wayside to do a piece on him of that magnitude. So I left it alone. But if you look at the fight with Stephen Fulton, he dropped Stephen Fulton, man. I remember that was, I believe that was Fulton's comeback fight after getting knocked out by Inoue. So maybe Fulton was still kind of asleep from that knockout. He hadn't woke up fully, you know what I'm saying? And got in the ring and looked bad against Carlos Castro. And Castro arguably won that fight. I mean, you could definitely make a case for him. There were some swing rounds there that could have went in his favor. But Castro is definitely a good fighter. I just think he's tailor-made at this point in his career for a guy like Shushu Carrington. Now, here's the deal, and here's what I will bring up what Zoe said about Xander Zayas. I don't think Abass Baraou is a dangerous fight for Xander Zayas as Carlos Castro is for Bruce Carrington, right? I think Bruce Carrington is being touted as one of the guys that's going to take over the sport after, I'd say like the Tank Davises, retire. Maybe even, Usyk and Inoue, those guys leave. Terrence Crawford's already gone. I think he comes back, but when he officially leaves, Canelo, when those guys leave, they're saying that Bruce Carrington's up there with Shakur Stevenson to possibly take over. I disagree with that. And I hope that's not going to his head, because a guy like Carlos Castro, who can box from the outside, he won't keep that same pace from the outside, but he's tricky at mid-range distance. I think he can get off on Bruce Carrington if Carrington doesn't have his mental game right. If he got his mental game right, he could definitely, win this fight walking away. But I think he has mental inadequacies similar to Abdullah Mason. And I think that could make this fight closer than it has to be. I'm still taking Shushu, but it's a dangerous fight, man.
I mean, when I look at the Castro Fulton fight, I think I'm probably in a minority here. I didn't think it was a close fight. I think he probably won 3 rounds, including the knockdown. I think he was able to get outboxed pretty simply. And I think when he fights Bruce Carrington, even though I'm not a big person on Bruce Carrington, I think Bruce Carrington, this is a tailor-made fight for him. He should be able to outbox him, because Castro is really a thinking man's fighter. He's not really an all-out pressure fighter. He's gonna go there and he's gonna try to be crafty to let him go sneaky shots and shit. If you're gonna fight a thinking man fight against Shushu Carrington, I'm not saying Shushu Carrington has the greatest IQ in the world, but if that's the type of fight Castro fights and that's been consistent with his career, Shushu's gonna pick him apart and he might get the stoppage. I think the same punches Fulton was able to land on him consistently when he got it going. I think Bruce Carrington is a way bigger puncher. He's either gonna make him shy or stop him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. He should take over. I just think that, like I said, those mental inadequacies, bro. Stephen Fulton and Shushu are on the same level in terms of mentality, in my opinion. Fulton would have to get the edge because his level of competition has been higher than Shushu's, right? But I think, the things that you watch Shushu do in the ring, it'll make you say, why is this nigga doing that? Why is he making the fight harder than it should be, right? I think that against a guy, because I remember when he fought that dude, man, I can't think of his name. Sagawa, yeah, that cat. I'm watching that. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing, man? Now, of course, he's had fights. I think he's had 3 or 4 more fights after that where he's dominated those guys, but that's still something that I'm looking at, right? If you can have mental instability of that magnitude against a guy that you should have probably taken over and won a unanimous decision against, a guy like Carlos Castro, who has nothing to lose at this point in his career, who is a dangerous fighter and who is pretty moderately skilled to the point where he is one of those guys that can give some of the higher level, higher skilled fighters who may just be too much in their head because they're getting a lot of hype, like possibly a Shushu Carrington. You can give him trouble, man.
Was that the African dude that gave that was that Solomon something, right? It was like Solomon
Sagawa, some shit like that, yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, that's why and he literally I watched that fight not too long ago, and I don't know why he struggled against him. Maybe he had an off fight, but it was a basic. The dude was just using basics of using his jab, keeping his distance. Because Shushu, he can fight inside. He's a great counter puncher, and his range is pretty much mid and inside. So, but this guy was staying at mid to long range that whole fight, and I think that's why he really struggled in that fight. And with Castro, he does have a good jab. He may not be as talented as Carrington, but he like you said, he ain't got nothing to lose. So I think with his jab, he could actually win. I actually have him winning the fight. But I don't know. We'll save the scorecards though. Yeah, for the end.
All right. Anybody else?
Nah, just y'all jump in, man. What y'all got? Corey, what you got, man?
Come on.
I think Shushu should be good for this fight. I lean like towards something Zoe was saying that he should be able to catch him coming in. Also, I think he's more proficient with his jab, and I think as long as he relies on his jab and doesn't have any like crazy lapses, I think he should be fine. But I do think if the fight gets sped up, or if we get if he gets clipped early with something, I think you'll see kind of a back and forward kind of jittery type fight that he could mess around and lose.
Okay. All right. So everybody's looking at this fight. Bruce Carrington, it's a more dangerous fight for him. I do agree with that. It's a more dangerous fight for him taking on Carlos Castro than Xander Zayas taking on Baraou. All right, so we got another fight that's gonna be on that card. Another face that we all know about. Keyshawn Davis has come out of retirement. He's gonna be taking on Jermaine Ortiz. I like this fight. This to me is a dangerous fight for Keyshawn Davis. Jermaine Ortiz, and I know everybody probably may agree or disagree. Listen, Jermaine Ortiz has some tools in his toolbox that can give Keyshawn Davis a lot of trouble. Maybe even expose some things about Keyshawn Davis that people who don't pay attention to the sport of boxing don't know. Jermaine Ortiz has been in the ring and he showed us good athleticism against Teofimo Lopez and Vasyl Lomachenko. I definitely think that 117, 111 scorecard he got against Lopez was bullshit. But hey, definitely bullshit. Jermaine Ortiz has good footwork. The only thing about Jermaine Ortiz is he does have lapses in the later parts of the round, and that's where Keyshawn Davis may shine. But I see this fight, and I see Jermaine Ortiz giving Keyshawn Davis some trouble, especially in the beginning of the fight and in the middle rounds. I think maybe in the later rounds is probably where Keyshawn could pull it off because of Jermaine Ortiz lapse. But don't be surprised if Jermaine Ortiz mess around and win this fight.
I got a question for you because Keyshawn has been having a lot of issues lately outside the ring. Do you think for a fight like this, where you're fighting a fighter that's very technical and you had a corner that was very good at technical opponents, do you think you're going to see that in the ring?
I think we're going to see some serious issues with Keyshawn in the ring because I don't think he's with Bomac anymore.
No, they split up.
That's what
made me ask that.
A new voice in that man's ear will definitely be a problem because now you got a new voice in your ear with new instructions. And for a fighter like Keyshawn, that could be for a fighter like Keyshawn, that could be something that he has to adjust to. And going into somebody with Jermaine Ortiz while he's adjusting, I see Jermaine Ortiz having serious success. So yeah, I mean, it ain't just the outside the ring; it's having that new voice in your corner, in your ear, that can also be a problem for him.
I don't see Jermaine Ortiz being competitive in this fight at all. I think even when even the thing Jermaine Ortiz does well with his movement, when he does move, he moves in a way that sacrifices a lot of his offense. So even if you're not catching him clean and you can't hit him, you're still gonna rack up rounds because when he's retreating, he's really not doing anything offensively. And even with his supposedly good footwork, he does get hit. He does get caught because he keeps his hand down, and sometimes he doesn't time. A lot of times he doesn't time the punches right that he thinks that's coming, so he could get hit. And Keyshawn's a very precise puncher. He's a very hard puncher. He's a very smart puncher. And then I didn't even realize this until I saw the face off today. I didn't realize Keyshawn was taller than this motherfucker. Give me Keyshawn by 9th round TKO.
No, I'm gonna have a little bit more respect for Jermaine Ortiz's chin than that. Go ahead, go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I think this is going to go 12 rounds, but I do believe that I do agree with you, Bo. I do believe that they will definitely be a chess match. I believe it will be a high paced one because of the foot speed. I think that's going to give Keyshawn some issues early in the fight. I think once he begins to see his pattern or his rhythm, he will capitalize on that. And I think that that is going to revert Jermaine Ortiz to not punch as much. And it won't be, and that's typically what happened in the TO fight is he stopped throwing punches and he went on that. He looked good on defense, but he didn't have enough offense. So I just think it's going to go 12 rounds. I think Keyshawn pulls it out by, I'll say 2 rounds.
I'm a kind of piggyback on what Zoe was saying. I don't think we get a stoppage out of it because I think Jermaine Ortiz is a little too crafty. But I do see somewhere in the fight, particularly in the late rounds, I do think Keyshawn can hurt him. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of expecting it because at first I think when you see Jermaine, I think you do see a lot of things with him and it can be overwhelming. But Keyshawn does have enough experience that I think as the fight progresses, he should be able to figure out how to place his shots and he should be able to, like, down the stretch, I think he should be able to take over. As far as going knockout, that's a bit of an aggressive pick, but I definitely think Keyshawn by the later rounds will start to touch him.
Hey,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, I do. I want to agree with what Zoe was saying because when you watch Keyshawn Davis, man, and the guys that he's taken out, some of these guys, Gustavo Limos, I'm gonna go all the way back down and say Anthony Yiggett. I didn't think Yiggett was gonna win or anything, but I thought Yiggett, this is a former what was the name of those damn tournaments that they used to have for DAZN? Not DAZN.
Boxing series.
Yeah, Super
Series.
Series. Yeah, I mean he was a part of that. You got guys like Jose Pedraza, who I never was big on, but he had that veteran pedigree that these guys were supposed to give him a little trouble. Francisco Patera, he's fought a who's who. He was supposed to give him a little bit of trouble. Dennis Baranchyk was supposed to give him a little trouble, another one of those Super Series fighters. And he literally plowed through all these guys. So I see exactly what Zoe is talking about when he says he should plow through somebody like a Jermaine Ortiz. But here's the problem. Young nigga mindset. That's the problem. Keyshawn Davis already believes he's the best fighter in the world. And realistically, you are fighting former champions who are on their way out the door and former top-rated fighters who are also out the door, right? And that's why this nigga semi-retired, because he thinks in his mind that he's done something in the sport. Nigga talking about, I'm going to retire, right? If the fans want me back, I'll come back. Nigga, shut the fuck up, nigga. What fans? The niggas in Norfolk, nigga? Ain't nobody cutting for no motherfucking Keyshawn Davis. I don't know nobody that's walking around. Yeah, that nigga Keyshawn Davis, pound for pound. Don't know nobody. And if you know somebody like that, tell that nigga to stop talking boxing. Keyshawn Davis ain't that dude yet. So with that dumbass young nigga Gen Z mindset, he could possibly come into this ring with Jermaine Ortiz thinking he already got shit sewn up. Oh, this nigga already lost to Loma, right? This nigga already lost to fucking Teofimo Lopez. Keyshawn thinks he's better than Teofimo Lopez right now. Ask him. He thinks it. Now, he's saying it for the media, as he should. I mean, you ask any fighter if they think they're anybody, they should tell the media, yeah, I'll beat anybody. But he really believes that. Given what he's done, he believes accolade-wise, you should think so too. He believes this. So he would look at Vasil and look at Tio and be like, oh, he lost to them niggas. I'm way better than them. I could beat this guy worse. That could be a problem for Keyshawn Davis. Mentality is a major asset when it comes to boxing. It's only like 15% physical, bro. Probably less than that. Go back to 10 or maybe 5%. 85 to 95% mental is the game of boxing. If his mentality ain't there because he's, quote, semi-retired and was waiting for his 15 fucking fans to say, come back to boxing. If he's still got that kind of mentality, right? Jermaine Ortiz is more than ever the fucking type of veteran that could basically give him his first L. That's what I'm looking at for Keyshawn. Is he coming into this fight serious, or is he coming into this fight thinking, yeah, I'm that nigga. I train with I did train with Terrence Crawford. He no longer with Bomac and them, but I fuck with Shakur Stevenson. Yeah, them my niggas right there. Yeah, dog, I'm that nigga. If he's coming in there like that, a dude like Jermaine Ortiz, who has been active, right? Who has given some of the best fighters in the sport trouble, right? And who is on a winning streak at this point in time, which boosts confidence and boosts his momentum. Yeah, that's a trouble fight for him. Absolutely. But if Keyshawn Davis was more mentally stable, I would agree that he would walk over Jermaine Ortiz. I don't think that's the case. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he does walk over him because that becomes another player in the division.
Yeah, he needs to look real quick. He needs to look impressive in this fight, and here's the reason why. Keyshawn Davis is talking about even if he wins this fight, he's talking about going 147 pounds. You're gonna have you need to look impressive because at this point in your career, you got to give people a reason to want to watch you. You got to give people a reason, and you can look at the brain checks, but Jermaine Ortiz is somebody who people feel like this is a guy that should have got victories over top guys like Teofimo Lopez and Vasily Lomachenko and never did get him. So if you go in there and you plow over this guy, yeah, your props to definitely go through the roof because everybody's looking at you as that next big thing. So this is where you have to make a statement against somebody that people feel beat or at the very least was competitive against some pound for pound champions. Go ahead, guys.
Like I know you saying he's a young nigga and he has that young nigga mindset, but me, I refuse. I mean, I know it might be wishful thinking, but I refuse to believe after all that shit Top Rank tried to do for you for that fight and at the what was it, the Capital One Center that what the fighters gonna have in Norfolk for you. They had all the celebrities come out for you. Everybody who had a name in Virginia had to come out for you, and you literally fucked up the event by fucking not coming in shape and then fucking jumping the other nigga who beat your brother ass. I think with that, there's no way he comes into this fight fucking being stupid, bro. I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it.
Well,
He has to know he fucked up. He really fucked up
We
his
hope.
last event with this
well,
time
there's
period.
something that don't bode too well for what you just said. The Edwin De Los Santos fight. Like, think about it. You actually yourself went out there and said I was drinking in camp, and initially the people that you're surrounded by were like, "Hold up, we didn't see no alcohol. We didn't even see no signs of that." The kind of mental dysfunction that just um that little that little dispute tells me that there is something maybe more to like where he might be mentally than we're giving credit to or that we're acknowledging. So I don't think it's a given that he's going to come in razor focused and ready to do the job. I hope that he does because as 2K was saying, it gives us another player, but there's a lot of things that point in the opposite way more so like because he hasn't really seen too what's the word, contrite is the word I guess they
Yeah,
use. He ain't
yeah,
been too contrite about how he behaved in two back-to-back situations.
yeah,
No,
man.
that's some truth to that because he didn't take that WBC when he for that marijuana thing. He was acting like, "Hey, you know what? I ain't gonna stop smoking. All right, I'll stop like that. All right, I'll stop smoking." That's like, come on, man.
I don't trust a nigga that shows that he's lazy mentally, right? It's one way to say it's one thing to say you win 6 fights and be like I'm the best fighter in the world, right? Nothing wrong with that. But when you move like that and you're only 26 years old, that's a problem, dog. I
Yeah,
don't trust that dude.
yeah, most definitely, most definitely. All right, man. Let's and now we starting to inch toward the nitty gritty. So I'm gonna show you guys something. Y'all see that right there? Bring boxing back from the dead. Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson symbolizes something that we've been waiting to see for a very long time in sport of boxing. That is two in their prime motherfuckers go at it. I look at this as a 50-50 fight, but I like this fight. This fight is a step in the right direction for me, and here's why. Like I said, two undefeated guys. I mean, not undefeated, two in their prime, hungry guys, round about the same weight, getting in the ring, skill set, everything you can say about these dudes is almost even. When we do the breakdown, we'll talk about that. Getting in the ring. We need to see more of that. We need to see the bigger name guys getting in the ring more of that. That's why, to me, this fight isn't a step in the right direction because maybe it may spark more fights like this, more
Yeah.
in their prime, more undefeated, more guys willing to say, "Hey, man, I want to be that nigga. Who's the nigga up here? I'm fighting you." Bet. Bring your ass up here. Let's do this. We used to see this back in the day when you talking about the four kings held even in Mayweather's era. We don't see it as much now, man. How do you guys feel about this as far as when you're looking at going into 2026 about how this fight can maybe shape how it's going to bring back boxing?
Well, it's what I said in the beginning of the show, right? I mean, we're starting off 2026 on the right foot with a fight of this magnitude. Hopefully, it sets the tone for the next 11 months that we have left of this year, right?
Right.
You know, I can't fault people who disagree when someone else says boxing is dead, right? Because those are just people hanging on for hope, hanging on to hope. You know, they're hoping that the sport that they've loved for X amount of years or maybe months for some of you casuals out there, but you've grown to love the sport now, however much time you've been watching it, and you sit back and say, why are people saying boxing is dead, right? Those are the people that are hanging on to hope. But when you talk to guys like us, I think on average, all of us have been covering or watching the sport for 20 plus fucking years. You know what I'm saying? We got dudes on this show have covered it for 30 plus years. You see what I'm saying? We're comparing to what we used to see, right? We're looking at this era and going back many decades prior and comparing it and saying, hey, this shit is on life support compared to what it used to be. Then we're not even going to bring in how the networks are no longer in play. You got apps and shit and streaming and all this other shit. That's a whole nother conversation. We're going to keep it to where fighters are not making the fights that need to be fucking made. There's way too many. Like Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson, that fight right there probably should have been made a couple of times over at this point. Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez was supposed to happen at 135, right? That fight should have happened. Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson likely should have happened. Tank Davis and fucking everybody should have happened, right? I mean, Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua. I could keep going, bro, with all these matchups that were missed and some that may be missed, right? That won't happen. Zoe used to always guarantee to us, hey, dog, Shakur Stevenson, Tank Davis will happen. And what I always used to tell you, Zoe, there's no fucking way that fight happens. Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney would happen before Shakur Stevenson and Tank, right? Because Tank is in control of his career. He's got a guy like Mayweather who wants to move him very slowly at the time he did anyway. And Mayweather's still kind of in the background anyway. But he's in control of his career, and he's made way too much money for lackluster fights, lackluster matchups to basically put his image and reputation on the line, possibly losing to somebody like Shakur. It's not going to do that, right? And that's the problem we've had. A lot of these guys don't want to put their image and reputation on the line. If you get a 1 in that loss column, all of a sudden you're trash, right? And here's the problem. Boxers want to blame that on the fans. But the fans have always been finicky, right? Ever since boxing was created. And, fans have always been finicky. Who's the champion? Oh, this guy? Yeah, I'm going to fuck with him. Boxing fans have always done that shit, right? But at the end of the day, there was respect. Whenever a fighter actually stepped up and took an L, there was respect there. See what I'm saying? But fighters today don't understand that, right? They don't care about the respect. They actually care about the money. And if they take an L, to them, it leaves them unmarketable, or it takes a hit to their marketability, which it does. But at the same time, if you keep building, right, the fans will respect you and your marketability increases, even though you may take 2 or 3 L's. Some of the best fighters in the history of the sport, my number one fighter in the history of the sport, has 19 fucking losses. You see what I'm saying? Muhammad Ali has, 5 losses, guys? Right? And he fought a gauntlet of months.
Ali got 5, and he fought a gauntlet.
Exactly. He probably has the best resume, bro. Arguably one of the best resumes in the history of the sport. Has 5 losses. Some of the best fighters in the history of the sport.
Holyfield's resume is outrageous.
Right. Some of the best fighters in the history of the sport have losses. And that's something that we've lost. And hopefully Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez bring this back, right? Because this is a win-win situation. If Teo loses, he loses his belt, but he lost it to a guy who they're saying is going to take over the sport, right? When Terrence Crawford and Usyk and Inoue end up leaving. He's a guy that's supposed to take over the sport. He's essentially overwhelmingly according to the consensus, going to be that guy. That's what they think, right? If Shakur Stevenson loses, well, he lost to one of the guys who's probably one of the top fighters in the sport today. Actually, both of these guys should be on your pound for pound list, or at least close to it, right? So it's a win-win. Neither guy is going to get a hit to marketability, in my opinion. Stupid ass fans are going to say things about, well, Shakur Stevenson, I told you the nigga was always overrated. Them niggas don't matter, bro. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, Shakur gets into another fight with somebody else that's a name, they're going to tune in. Whether it's because they respect him for fighting Teofimo Lopez, or it's because they want to see another round of this nigga losing again. At the end of the day, they're going to fucking tune in. So this fight is a win-win for boxing. It helps bring it back over, or at least closer to the threshold of what we consider acceptable in the sport. And hopefully other fighters take note of this shit, and we can do this for the next 11 months going into 2026, man.
And to add on to your point, what you're saying about the protecting the O, I always found the protecting the O shit stupid, because there was no time when protecting the O was a thing. Even when Mayweather was undefeated, there was two other big superstar pay-per-view selling superstars around. Three of them, if you think. Miguel Cotto had losses, he was still fucking selling like hotcakes and shit.
Yep.
Fucking Canelo lost to Floyd, nothing changed. He went his very next fight and got a fucking title. You feel me?
Yep.
Manny Pacquiao fucking was getting knocked out in the middle of his Floyd rivalry, and nobody gave a fuck. He still kept selling. Anthony Joshua took the loss to Andy Ruiz. No, it didn't affect him. He still was high selling. He lost to fucking Usyk twice. Niggas forgave him as soon as he beat Otto Wallen and Nagano. Niggas forgot about that shit. So that shit was never a thing.
100% correct.
No, 100% correct. Also, you got to add on something else. Think about this, because, like we said, protecting the O. Marcos Maidana got 2 fights with Floyd and retired from the sport just off of that, and he had losses.
Many.
It's all about, okay, you lose, but how do you look when you lose? Sean Porter had several championship fights after coming off defeats. It's all if you lose and you look good, or you lose and you put up a fight, or you keep your marketability, then protecting that O don't mean anything at all, period, especially if you still in the mix of getting big fights. So at the end of the day, that whole narrative of, and I hope a lot of these fighters get rid of that shit. I mean, look, Teofimo Lopez took a O, and look at where he is. He's back on the pound for pound list. So hopefully, man, that narrative get erased, man. Go ahead. Somebody's gonna say something.
Yeah, even as much as they worship Lomachenko, they worship him. This nigga lost his first fucking fight.
Yep.
Julio Cesar Chavez lost. You know what I'm saying? His first loss. Then he lost the dude that was that smoked crack, then, right? What's his name?
Frankie Randall.
Yep.
That
was his first official.
The first loss.
Well, that's his first official. He should have
loss,
lost to Meldrick Taylor, but I digress.
Well, he
And then he had the fight that they
had a loss before Meldrick Taylor that they scrubbed off the records.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But to Bo's point, it's not the losing that's really the problem. It's how you look in your losses. Like, if you run out in the ring and get beat from pillar to post for 6 rounds and stopped, yeah, you're gonna look crazy. But if you out there and you fighting, slinging and banging for 12 rounds, and it was a great fight, people are not gonna throw you away.
Not at all.
Think about it. Arturo Gatti fucking made the Hall of Fame because he got people excited with his performances. Wins or loss, he made the fucking Hall of Fame because of that reason.
Well, that's a post-mortem thing, and then that's an HBO thing. But you're right. He still had a fan base of people that respected him. I agree with that 100%. So, like I said, I got to give both of these guys, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez losing to George Camboudi, you know what I'm saying? He could have easily been like, hey, I'm going to take the easiest route, possible. But he didn't. Giving Sandor Martin a shot when Sandor Martin was hot coming off the Mikey Garcia win, right? That could have turned bad for him, and it actually probably should have, because I had Sandor Martin winning that fight, right? He did fight Jermaine Ortiz, right? He did fight Josh, what's his name?
Josh Kelly, not Josh.
No.
From the WBSS that won
the one that beat Regis program. Damn, I don't know why I can't think of his name.
Josh Taylor.
Thank you, Josh Taylor. He fought Josh Taylor, a fight that I thought he was going to lose years before that fight actually took place. Remember, they were always beefing and shit.
Yep.
And at the time,
Mhm.
you know, Taylor was the champ at 140. I think he was undisputed at the time. And Teo was a unified champ at 135. Back then, I thought he would lose to Josh Taylor, bro. He moved up and fought that motherfucker and beat him. Right? He's taking fights that should be difficult fights, and then now he's taking Shakur. I got to give him 100% credit. I don't like the guy, right? I don't like him as a person. Him and his dad are fucking annoying. But you got to give him credit for the fights that he's fucking taking. And you got to give Shakur Stevenson credit for moving up and doing this shit. A lot of people were saying Shakur Stevenson is a ducker. Absolutely fucking not, bro. Because if he was a ducker, why the fuck would he move up for a 4th division, right? And take on another champion? Man, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Because he's ducking on Shocky Fawcett. That's why he went up to.
I know, right? I know, right?
And keep in mind, the dude he went up to fight is arguably probably the best guy at that division.
Yep.
So
True.
he didn't just move up and say, "Oh, well, you know what, man, this new dude, you know, Dalton Smith, yeah, I'm a fight." No, he took on the best guy in the goddamn
straight
division.
to Teo.
Right.
Straight to Teo.
So,
anything he's done in the past that any of you dumbass casual fans think of Stevenson as a ducker, this shit right here should erase that.
Exactly. 100% agree with that, man. So, all right, man, like we said, man, hopefully this is a step in the right direction with a lot of these fighters. But speaking of somebody who should have fought someone in the goddamn division, man, Stevenson had something to say about, you know what I'm saying, fans, fan girl boy favorite Gervonta Tank Davis.
Do you believe we will finally see Shakur Stevenson and Tank Davis in 2026?
Fuck him. I don't even want to speak on him. I don't got too much to say about him.
Wow. And if I
that
may,
was sad.
tell me why. Where's that heat come from?
I don't talk on people who feel as though I need them, because I don't need nobody. I'm a big superstar in my own right. I make a lot of big money in my own right, and I don't need nobody.
Now, here's the thing for me, and here's why I agree. And this is why this move, even for him fighting Teofimo, is correct. Hey, man, one of the things that was happening, it was the Floyd era and it was the Canelo era. Everybody wasn't trying to make moves because they was looking for that big bag fight. They said, man, I want to get that Floyd fight. I want to get that Canelo fight. He's right. I'm not finna sit around and wait on the motherfucker that ain't looking to do shit. That's why, like when David Benavidez decided, fuck it, I'm going up and wait. I'm not finna sit around and wait around on the dude that ain't gonna fight me. I gotta give Shakur Stevenson. I gotta agree with him on here. Listen, Tank Davis is up here acting like, hey man, I don't want to fight nobody. I ain't got to fight nobody. Yeah, you do. Because when your career is over, we all gonna look back at them blemishes. You should have fought Haney, should have fought Lopez. All these dudes that was around in your era, you didn't fight. Them gonna be blemishes on your resume, man. I 100% agree with what Stevenson said, man. How you guys feel about this, man?
It's I'm a little sad about it because I want to see the fight. You know, it's a little disappointing because I still want to see the fight because I want Shakur. I know of course it's Tank's fault. I'm just saying I'm disappointed because I thrive off seeing meltdowns. Like Wilder losing to Tyson Fury, that meltdown was beautiful. Manny Pacquiao losing to Floyd Mayweather, the Canelo losing. I love to see those meltdowns. I know that one was going to be the ultimate meltdown, so that's why I'm so disappointed. But in terms of like legacy, let's be real. Teofimo's a better fighter than Tank. He has a better resume than Tank. He did more than Tank. You know, this fight should be getting the same type of publicity a Shakur and Tank fight would have been getting. But, you know, people don't know any better. But I'm still disappointed about it because, like I said, I know Tank. I know Shakur Tank was going to end up being like a 118, 110, 119, 109 domination. I know the reaction would have got from that would have been legendary. So I'm disappointed, but he's right. At the end of the day, Shakur is right because the guy has shown no willingness to want to fight you. Whenever people bring up his name, he start PMSing and start going through a bitch fit. And then you can't trust him. The same way we say we can't trust Keyshawn. We know we can't trust Tank, my nigga. This nigga was just on the run for 2 weeks, nigga. He just, you feel me? Like he just bailed out. I think he bailed out 20 minutes before the show started. You feel me? Like, well, nigga, I can't trust this nigga. And Shakur realizes that, nigga. Like, and with Turkey willing to, waste money for me because his time is short. You feel me? So Shakur's gonna milk that. I don't need your money. So I agree with them. It's disappointing. It's a bummer. It's a fight I wish we would got. But hey, let's move past into green and fighting things, man.
Zoe took the purest angle. I'm gonna take the fuck you angle about it. Tank's been on this nonsense for years. I mean, think about it. In 2022, think about how many stipulations you had just to give him to fight Ryan Garcia, the one out of the group that never had a belt.
Right.
Still ain't got a belt.
True.
Still ain't
So,
got a belt. Damn.
Yeah, so if we out here, you should have said that shit loud. But on a serious note, that dude's like Tank's fame is probably a product of him being the oldest of the bunch. Unfortunately, because he happened to get his name on the ahead of theirs, he's been able to operate like he's the big brother, but he really acts like the little brother. He's not trying to come see none of them at all. And he's made it very clear every time their names come up. At first, it was like a list of all the things they needed to do. Then it started with, well, they don't sell. Then it just went to finally just saying, well, they're not on my level. I don't even need to fight them. Well, then who do you need to fight? And then finally, he's already started talking about he wants to start like some Boys and Girls Club, which is great, but he has never actually said anything that shows a sense of urgency about a legacy. So there's not anything that, I mean, after somebody tells you something so many times, all you got to do is believe them, specifically if they're being consistent about it. And he has consistently told you, I don't care. And he's actually flipped out and cussed people out to let you know he don't care.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man,
Right.
Tank Davis, right? I'm gonna sell this right now, bro.
This motherfucker finna put a fork in him. I'm finna put a fork.
Let's say a prayer for the meal.
Right, he finna call this motherfucker up like a juicy Texas steak. Go ahead.
Listen, man, Tank Davis has been a professional since 2013, right? Shakur Stevenson has been a professional since 2017. And Teofimo Lopez has been a professional since 2016. Tank Davis has 4 and 3 years respectively on Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. But his two best fucking wins are 9 and 6 years ago, guys. Jose Pedraza and fucking Leo Santa Cruz. That should be enough right there to say fuck Tank. I think that's where Shakur is saying that shit at. Like, fuck this nigga. If he don't want to fight us and we doing big things, we going for the 140-pound WBO championship between 2 pound-for-pound fighters, bro. That's what we doing over here. While your punk ass is fighting niggas like Mario Barrios, Ryan Garcia, moving Lamont Roach up from 130 and having a draw with that nigga. Actually, you lost to Lamont Roach. Give a fuck what anybody says. Lamont Roach won that goddamn fight. Steve Willis, old bug-eyed nigga. All you got to do is call the motherfucking knockdown. 99% of other goddamn referees call the fucking knockdown when a nigga puts his glove on the canvas, right? Because he need to take a break. That's a knockdown. That's a 10-8 round, dog. Lamont Roach won that fucking fight, right? You fighting Frank Martin. This nigga still ain't got his motherfucking diaper off yet, nigga. He's still taking Similac in the sport of boxing. You fight that nigga. You struggle with Rolly Romero, land a lucky punch and finally knock him out. Fuck that nigga Tank, bro. If he don't want to step up like Shakur and Teofimo Lopez are doing, I agree 100%. And I think that's where Shakur is coming from. He's beneath us when he says, I don't need them, or him. when he says I'm a superstar in my own right, I disagree with that. But it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, right? he don't need Tank because they're above him. When they ask Tank, when you gonna fight Shakur Stevenson, this punk ass nigga basically says, well, what has Shakur Stevenson done? How you gonna tell a 3-division champ that he hasn't done anything? This dude's a 3-division champ with real titles, not a WBA regular title, nigga. A real title, right? I think Tank, if you take away his WBA regular title, Zoe, correct me if I'm wrong, he's probably a 2-division champion with the WBA super title and the IBF title that he got off of fucking Jose Pedraza that he didn't hold for that long. He's a 2-division champion when it comes to that. If you take away the WBA regular titles a minor title, ladies and gentlemen. That's a minor title. Shakur has major titles in all 3 of the divisions he's won a title in. So how you going to tell somebody that has done better than you? I don't care if you make more money than him. We don't care about that as fans. We don't count pockets. Real boxing enthusiasts don't count pockets. Only casuals do that shit. We don't care about how much money you've made or how much more money you've made over Shakur Stevenson. We're looking at what you've done as a collective, as a fighter in this sport. Shakur Stevenson's done more than you. So like you tell him, what has he done? And he's sitting there a 3-division champion with real titles. And don't even get on Teofimo Lopez. The Vasyl Lomachenko win by itself is better than everybody in your fucking resume. By itself. We won't get into Josh Taylor, right? Hell, we won't even get into Jermaine Ortiz or Arnold Barboza, right? Those guys, they're not better than Leo Santa Cruz, in my opinion. But I think Arnold Barboza is better than fucking Jose Pedraza. I couldn't stand Jose Pedraza. Thought he was overrated. Yes, he had a title. He was IBF champion, but he was highly overrated. I'll never forget how he struggled with Stephen Smith right before that fight. I'll never forget that, right? So you can say Arnold Barboza might be better than Jose Pedraza, right? So Teo's resume is definitely better than yours. So yeah, it's fuck Gervonta Davis. My opinion, legacy-wise, accolade-wise, he's under these guys. They're above him. So moving along, let the little nigga come up and catch them.
So we're still doing a prediction for Teo and Shakur, right?
Stop asking dumbass questions, nigga.
That sound like we skipping.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. I'm lost. This motherfucker saying some shit like that, and this motherfucker transition.
Mute your mic, nigga. I'm about to put you in timeout, bro. Nigga come in here and ask a dumbass question. let Bo direct the show.
but all seriousness though, at the end of the day, I'm looking at 2026, and even if you look at what Tank put out about who he trying to fight, it's still to me fuck Tank. Isaac Cruz, why? Like why is he even on your list? You know, you talking about what? Maybe Lamont Rhodes. You ain't fighting Gary Antoine Russell.
No, let's actually keep it a buck. It's maybe Isaac Cruz, and I'm gonna try to see if I can weasel Inoue up in weight.
Right. Exactly. So no, he's not trying to do anything, and with all the legal stuff he got going on, like I said, we may not see that dude 2026. And depending on how that goes, we might not see him again, and that may be good for the sport because he's out here 4-division champion, probably only won belts twice in 2 separate divisions, and you doing this, and each time 135 was hot twice, and you ain't fought nobody twice. That division was hot, and you still ain't fought nobody. No, man, I agree 100% with Shakur, man. Tank Davis, everybody should be on that fuck Tank until he decides to step in the ring, one of these guys of his era. He don't do that, them check marks gonna be all on this dude, resume when or whenever he decides to lead the sport. All right, now, Zoe, here we
right.
All right, so the biggest thing that, of course, We all know this happening this weekend. We talked about this earlier. You got Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson. I like this fight, and even now, doing this breakdown, we're gonna give our predictions at the end. At the very end, I'll ask everybody, man, who you got. But right now, I just want to hear everybody break down because I'm looking at this fight. And even with Shakur Stevenson's high ring IQ, typically I'm the type of guy that if you got the good ring IQ, I'm gonna pick you only because of your ability to do things in real time. But there's still things I'm looking at. I'm looking at in Lopez that could still give Shakur problems, right? The number one thing for me is Shakur's not just his power, but we know he got brittle hands. And if he ain't able to put something, hit Teofimo with something that'll keep him off him, that could be a problem. Teofimo athleticism, it's a lot better than everybody's giving him credit for, along with his footwork. In that Arnold Barboza fight, I did not expect him to look like that against Arnold Barboza, right? So Teo is definitely showing us something. Shakur Stevenson has good defense. Like I said, he has ring IQ. He has good punching. He's good punching ability. But Shakur Stevenson also has weakness, which is his activity. He's not a fighter who has high activity, right? Both of these guys need someone to lead so they could try to counter. So whoever takes the lead and can maintain that lead could possibly be the guy to come out to win this fight, or the guy who's able to implement more of his game plan in this fight could be also be the guy that can win this fight. It's so many nuances and ebbs and flow in this game, man. Give me you guys breakdown, man, and just give me you guys breakdown.
All right. When I look at Teofimo Lopez, the keys to victory for him is he's really, really gonna have to really double down on his head movement, because even in fights that he dominated, one of his weaknesses sometimes he doesn't move his head, and he really gets hit, especially with a lead straight left hand. When we saw Lomachenko murder him with the in the last 6 rounds of the fight, which is in Shakur's bag. So he's really gonna have to double down on his head movement. He's really have to double down on his parries and his guard. But his keys to victory is when he gets on the front foot. Sometimes, not all the time, Shakur sometimes back up in a straight line, and he'll back up straight to the ropes. So if Teo could get him to back up straight to the ropes each time, he can score points when he's in the ropes. And number two, we seen on Shakur against Nakatani and Edwin De La Santo, when explosive punchers, they may not touch him, but they might turn him to Jermaine Ortiz for a while, where he becomes too defensive with nothing coming back, and he could give up rounds by doing that. So that would be Teo's keys to victory, is for him to establish intelligent pressure, be explosive in spots and throw him off guard, and then make sure he's on the defensive and try to push him to the ropes. Even though that's not your game, but Shakur is going to give you that will give you that opportunity, because sometimes he does back up straight to the rope. And another thing Shakur does sometimes, when Shakur's try to spin out of position, when he tries to spin out of the 50-50 exchanges, sometimes he's completely open to get hit with those with a left or right hooks, and we done seen it happen to him in fights. And I think Teo is smart enough to exploit that. Now, on Shakur's side, Teo, as explosive as his footwork can be, he is inconsistent with his footwork, and sometimes his feet is made out of cement. We don't see that in the Sandor Martin fight. We saw that in the who am I missing? What's this nigga name? Sandor Martin. There's another guy. I can't remember. We'll get back to that. But we've seen it in fights against boxers where people who do move around does make him struggle. He does struggle against people who move because his foot is made of cement. He likes to be stationary a lot. And I think Shakur can exploit that. And we also seen I'm not saying he has a bad chin. Sometimes he's so defensively irresponsible, you can catch him in between shots and drop him. We saw that happen in Cambosis and Sandor Martin multiple times. Whether they got counted or not, it happened multiple times. So I think Shakur's key to victory is to be patient, jab him, and try to time his explosive cover. You can't do what you did against Edwin De La Santo and completely retreat every time. You have to fire back and counter him and make sure he respects you. That's my keys to victory for both guys.
Good shit.
That's cool.
Next.
I got it. I'm on next. Honestly, let's talk about Teo. So Teo, there's very little that in skill set that he's better than Shakur, to tell you the truth. But I do believe, like Zoe was saying, in terms of him hitting Shakur, that power, making him feel it, that's gonna be his key to victory. And I believe like if he does hit Shakur with something solid, I think that is gonna have him clam up a little bit. He did do it against Nakatani. He did do it with Santos. So I think Tio needs to really focus in on the body, and even if he's just hitting his arms, doing that. Now for Shakur is just go in there and box, honestly. Move around, create angles, do what you do best. Just remain active. Maintain your distance, because Tio is not going to jump in. He's not the best. He's not the best at leading. So I think that the ring IQ is going to be a factor as well. I think that that Shakur's ring IQ is going to be way better than Tio's at the end of the day. But are you picking the scorecards or not?
Not yet.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, I agree and disagree with something that you said, Jay, in terms of ring IQ. And in general, yes, I think Shakur Stevenson has a better ring IQ when you go back and analyze the fights that they've been in and look at how each have produced in fights where they had to overcome adversity.
Okay, before you go into it, let me rewind like what I mean by way, right? So what I mean is in terms of I'm weighing it on adjustments. I'm weighing it on how he picks his shots, because Tio can really be off balance if he's taking a lead. So I think that it's a bunch of those things, and I think that at the end of the day, Shakur can adjust a lot faster than Tio. So that's what I kind of mean. Mm-hmm. I'm not necessarily saying that that he's levels above him, but at the end of the day, yeah, that's what I mean.
I agree to an extent. It helped a little bit, but not much. I agree to an extent. The only thing is that I feel like I don't want to sit here and say that Teofimo has fought a guy like Shakur Stevenson. That's not the case. But I think that Teofimo Lopez has fought guys of a higher caliber than Shakur Stevenson has, right? I want to say off the top of my head that Shakur's best win on his resume is probably Oscar Valdez, right? I don't think Jamel Herring is anywhere in the atmosphere of Oscar Valdez. Actually, if those two tried to fight for that unification that they were supposed to fight for, Valdez would have probably beat the shit out of him. But probably Teofimo Lopez's second best win is better than everybody on Shakur's resume, and that would be Josh Taylor, in my opinion, right? So I'm not going to say that he's fought somebody of Shakur's caliber, but the point is that he comes up for fights. That's one thing nobody can take away from Teofimo Lopez, and
Correct.
That's where the IQ thing, to me, kind of evens out. When Tio doesn't care about the matchup, it looks like shit. George Kambosos, right? Sandor Martin. Looks like shit, right? Hell, even Jermaine Ortiz, he kind of looked like shit in that fight, in my opinion. But when he comes up for the fight, Arnold Barboza's been talking so much shit about Teofimo Lopez for many years. He came up for that fight, right? Josh Taylor's been talking so much shit for many years. He came up for that fight, right? He's been talking shit about Vasyl Lomachenko ever since this motherfucker turned pro. It's like he watched Vasyl Lomachenko's fights and was like, I'm going to make it a goal to get in the same division as Vasyl Lomachenko and beat him so that people stop talking like this guy is some sort of god. And he came up for that fight. I thought that fight was a draw because of the last 6 rounds. But he looked good as fuck in them first 6, bro. Dominating, right? So he comes up for these fights, for these events that he truly believes he's much better than those fighters. When he feels like there's something on the line, and even though he had, 3 belts on the line against George Kambosos, he still wasn't really up for that fight because it's an Australian dude that struggled with Lee Selby and Mickey Bay prior to him. He's like, oh man, I'll knock this nigga out. Plus, he had out of the ring issues with his girl at the time. So I think all of those things were issues when it comes to George Kambosos. But he don't have none of that shit. He has none of that shit ahead of him going in the Shakur Stevenson fight. Shakur's coming up to 140. Teofimo Lopez, just like he's always talked shit about Vasily Lomachenko, has talked shit about Devin Haney, right? And Shakur Stevenson, saying that those guys are not as good as me. Hell, he got mad when Top Rank was pushing Terrence Crawford and Shakur Stevenson over him. That's when he had them racist remarks at the time, right? He's really up for this shit. So given his track record, I got to move him up the intelligence level and almost make it even out between the two. But I do agree with what you're saying. When it comes to Shakur, he's got more mental capacity given his boxing ability to make adjustments because his style calls for it, right? If you're going to be a fighter from the outside that utilizes defense, right? You're trying to hit and not get hit over being a front-footed boxer puncher like Teofimo Lopez is, then your style calls for you to be able to make adjustments on the fly better than your opponent. You see what I'm saying? It calls for that shit. So he has to do it, right? Man, this is a tough-ass fucking fight, man. It's a tough fight for me to pick. I'm not going to make the pick right now, obviously, but right, Heisenberg, they're pushing all these blacks, right? That's what he was saying. Teo was saying that. But at the end of the day, something that you and Zoe said, Shakur Stevenson just needs to stay on the outside and box. I don't want to see Shakur try to get on the front foot and walk Teofimo Lopez down. Because even though I talked all the stuff about how Teo mentally gets ready and gets up for these big matchups, there still is a blueprint out on Teofimo Lopez in terms of a boxer getting the best of him, right? That was Sandor Martin. Sandor Martin can't fight on the inside. He can barely fight from mid-range. Fights from the outside, right? That's already out there. Shakur Stevenson can utilize his mental capacity, his mental fortitude, his boxing ability, right? And his ability to judge distance and what am I trying to say? Judge distance and basically
control range.
Control range. Thank you. Judge distance, control range, and dictate the pace of the fight. That's what I was looking for. With his ability to do that, he can literally stay on the outside and pot shot all day long. He could turn Teofimo Lopez into a one-dimensional fighter where he's basically trying to cut the ring off on Shakur Stevenson all night long. If Shakur Stevenson is smart, he makes this a boring fight. I hear people saying that Shakur is going for the knockout. I hope to God he doesn't do that. I want Shakur to make this a boring-ass fight. Stay on the outside, pot shot, counterpunch all day long. That's what he needs to do. On Teofimo Lopez's side, Teo has to be able to cut the ring off, right? He's got to be fainting like a motherfucker. He's very good at doing that. He has his herky-jerky awkwardness with his upper body movement, right? Where if he's doing that against Shakur, maybe he can make Shakur try to guess on what Teofimo Lopez is doing next. And in him trying to guess, Teo has an excellent jab where he's going first, where he's first. It's excellent. It's fast as fucking. It's snappy. It's almost as fast as Shakur Stevenson's, bro. Right? So as long as he's on his front foot and he's providing angles and providing feints and trying to make the fighter who casual fans are going to say runs, but he's really just using his footwork and utilizing the ring and trying to set a trap for Teofimo Lopez. When he's making him guess on when those traps should be set and he guesses wrong, that's when Teo can jump on him. Both of these guys have the ability, right, and the game plan to take over this fight and dominate this fight. That's why this fight is such a good one, man. I can't wait to see it.
Hey, real quick, hold on, Corey. I want to point something out, right? There's another fight that Teo did impress me in, and that was before he fought Vasily Lomachenko. He ran over fucking Richard Commey. Yeah. I was not expecting that shit. He ran over Richard Commey, and that was a fight that people thought, well, you know,
that was kind of his coming out party.
Yeah, that was the fight that people thought, well, you know, he's probably going to struggle a little bit and then get him in the end. No, he got him and got him out of there early. So, yeah, to your point, he gets up for these fights. They're fights he gets up for, but also that level of inconsistency is a problem for me. And you can't have that when you're fighting someone like Shakur Stevenson. Go ahead, Corey.
Let me jump in real quick. I'm sorry,
Go
Corey.
ahead.
Let me get this. My bad. Virtuoso 191 said Tio style works better when he's on the back foot. So forcing him to become a forward fighter could lead him into getting caught coming in. I somewhat disagree with that. Here's why. He was a front foot fighter against Vasily Lomachenko. When he moved on his back foot in the second half of that fight, that's when Vasily took over. So I disagree with that. He's got to stay on the front foot. Also, Shakur Stevenson ain't going to be on his front foot trying to put Teofimo Lopez on his back foot. He's in Teofimo Lopez's wheelhouse if he does that shit. Shakur, to me, don't have the power to do anything to a Shakur Stevenson. Yes, he could have that Tim Bradley kind of sting where if you get caught with a counterpunch you don't see, it can cause you to reset, right? But I don't think Shakur has this devastating power to where if he's on his front foot, Teofimo Lopez backs up. I don't see that. You know what I'm saying? So it would behoove Shakur Stevenson to not be on his front foot, which on the other side of Teofimo Lopez's perspective, it would not put him on his back foot. With Shakur on his back foot and utilizing the ring, it forces Tio on his front foot, right? Which, in my opinion, is a better game plan for Tio, but it also works better for Shakur Stevenson. So, yeah, I definitely don't want him on his back foot in this fight. That'd be a dumb decision for Tio. Go ahead, Corey. My bad.
All right. So something I was going to touch on, and everybody kind of touched on this a tad, but nobody went in depth with it. Both of them and their truest natures are counter punchers. One just happens to be more of a neutral boxer. The other one does better when he's boxing on the move. And then the other thing that I kind of noticed, I heard a lot about the jabbing game. One of the things that Tio is good at, and it's kind of like similar to like Roy Jones Jr., he kind of don't care what his lead punch is. Yeah, he has a good jab, but he doesn't necessarily use that as the can opener every fight. Like when you touched on the Comey fight, that step off right hand was kind of the punch that started causing problems. The step off right hand and the uppercut were the two problems he had. If you watch the Josh Kelly fight, he got the timing of Josh Kelly's jab down very quickly, so he wasn't necessarily fighting behind his jab. He just kept countering with right hands, and then it got so bad that he got his time. Like there was some kind of tell he picked up on, because then he started hitting him with left hooks whenever he felt like it. So the thing you have to be careful with Tio is he really can key in on you, and he has really good timing. Both fighters have excellent timing. But I think you have to be careful, not like, yeah, you might neutralize his jab, but that might not be the look he's going for, because he's going to try to draw a punch out that he feels comfortable countering. So the big riddle is can he figure out Shakur's jab and timing? Is he talented enough and smart enough? I would say yes, he is. But I also think Shakur he has a great ring IQ in that he will understand that, hey, I need to feint. Hey, I need to use the ring. And two, he's also smart enough to know when he should clinch or sometimes take an extended walk to break up the rhythm. So it'll be kind of Tio, who's kind of rhythmic. It'll be how alert is Shakur in breaking his rhythm. And I think that's kind of one of the challenges a lot of people I don't think are looking at, is that Tio's ring IQ, he might see something and be like, I can't hit him with a jab, but I can feint the jab, or I can look at how he reacts to a jab, and this either opens up a looping right hand, or he might step forward from time to time and double or triple up on a jab, and maybe I can land a hook or something. So I think we have to be on the lookout for that, as far as like how fast Tio can process information from Shakur. I think on the flip side with Shakur, I think it's imperative he gotta change looks. He's been able to box a lot of people super comfortably, but he hasn't fought a guy this athletic. And I think he's also fighting a guy that kind of 2K kind of kept pointing out. If you put him on his back foot, he can read you and counter you. So you don't want to run into anything unnecessary being greedy. So with that said, I think with the big keys is who actually can actually make reads and adjustments, because I think it'll be a chess match from the beginning to the end, however it ends.
And
You gave us a lot to think about. Go ahead, Zoe. I was trying to say something. Go ahead, Zoe.
oh no, you could go. You could go ahead.
I was going to say, well, you definitely gave us a lot to think about. Here's the thing here, though, and because you talked about winning the battle of the jabs. The only issue that I have when we're talking about Shakur Stevenson jab is it's not a power jab. It's not a hey, take this, get off me jab. His jab is more of a range finder.
Yep.
See what I'm saying? So I don't think that's going to be as big as a huge factor because Teal recognized that hey, this is rangefinder because the one thing everybody knows is Shakur is looking to go switch from defense to offense as fast as he can. So that's just a rangefinder for him. So I don't think it's going to be that much impactful. But also, let's not underestimate Teofimo's ability to get, to get a jab off. He can definitely get a jab off because the punch that he dropped George Kambosos with was that quick 1-2, pow, and he dropped Kambosos with that. So,
and kind of to your point, I guess, because I didn't articulate it well.
Okay.
When I was talking about the jab, is that when you normally fight a southpaw, they kind of use their jab. Not only are they probing you with it, they'll set rhythm with, like they'll tap on your gloves or manipulate your defense, and that's where Teal, on the other hand, can find punches on that. He just can't capitulate to that. Like if you do happen to be kind of heavy on the front foot, and he does, as Zoe pointed out, he will sometimes like keep his head on the center line. If you catch yourself doing that, you have to engage on the lead hand. Don't sit there and stay static in your guard, because that's how Shakur can pick you off. But at the same time, if he happens to step out real quick, he can walk Shakur into something.
Okay. All right then. Yeah, because I was finna say, yeah. All right then. I like that. I like that, man. Jay, was you about to say something?
No, I wasn't about to say that, bro.
Zoe was gonna say something.
Zoe, I'm sorry. Zoe, go ahead.
Oh nah, I was just being too anxious. I was about to jump on the prediction. I was being too anxious.
All right then. So everybody gave that. So here's something that I definitely want to ask, man. For the winner of this fight, man, what's next? What's next for actually winner or lose? What's next for both of you guys? In my honest opinion, Shakur Stevenson can go down to 135 pounds, and there's a lot of metal and money down there for him. You got Raymond Murzaliev, okay? You got Abdullah Mason. Those are fights that can definitely be made for him. If he decides to stay at 140, you got Richardson Hitson, you got Dalton Smith, you got Gary Anton Russell. There's a lot of room for Shakur Stevenson if he wins it. I'm sorry, what you say?
Devin Haney.
Oh yeah, damn, I forgot. Yeah, Devin Haney. You could possibly lower Devin Haney back down, right? So there's a lot of movement there for the winner or the loser of this fight. Same thing with Teofimo Lopez. If he wins, Teofimo can look to go to 147 and possibly be the favorite to run the tables against everybody at 147. And that would be something he would definitely be looking for. I mean, this is a fight where when these two fighters are looking at it like, hey, whoever wins this fight could possibly be considered the next man of not just of their division, but of boxing also as well. They could start making cases. Hey, dog, no, I'm top shit over here. You see who I didn't beat? Go ahead, fellas.
Yeah. Man, I think if Shakur wins, I'm gonna just take him at his word and say he go down to 137. The fight I would like to see is him versus Raymond.
Hold on. When did 137 become
you want 4?
I mean 135. I'm tripping. 135. I think he'll go back to 135 and fight Raymond Murzaliev. I mean, I would like to see him go to 135 and fight Raymond Murzaliev, but I think they'll take an easy fight after Teal. So they probably fighting a fight that makes him look really, really, really good. So maybe that bumps your dare.
I don't think so. I don't think Stevenson takes easy fights because he wants to. It's because he's had to. Niggas don't want to get in the ring with him, man. That's the real situation. I think he can. I think if you gave him Murzaliev next after beating win or lose, I think he takes Murzaliev. Or he could
agree.
Take him anyway.
And
I agree.
I think if Teal wins, I really would believe he'll go to 147 and try to fight Devin Haney and carry the momentum. That's what I think he would try to do.
I think
Uh,
both guys are probably going to be looking towards Devin Haney because Devin Haney has talked about moving back down as well. So I think both guys are looking at Devin Haney. Honestly, I think Stevenson says he goes back to 135, but if there's a Devin Haney matchup on the horizon, and it may not be the next one, but maybe sometime down the line, possibly at a catch weight or something, or maybe even at 140. I think he sticks around for that. I don't see
What
him.
kind of Ben fight in
Yeah,
Europe?
I don't see him going down to 135 and then coming all the way back up to 147 for a Devin Haney or Conor Ben fight. I think he sticks around for a little bit to kind of play the field to see if that fight's on the horizon. But for Teofimo Lopez, I mean, and this is win or lose. You know what I'm saying? For either guy, like I said earlier, it's a win-win situation. Win or lose, I think they're going to do the same thing. Teofimo Lopez will probably stick around in the division and probably look for some fillers at 147, especially if he lose. I think he definitely jumps up to 147 because that division is kind of wide open at the moment. I don't think Devin Haney stays there, but that's also a possible fight for Teofimo Lopez as well. Now, he's the type of guy that would take an easy fight, especially after a loss, right? I would see him doing something like that after a loss. After a win, he may be talking so much shit about Devin Haney after that. It could be a fight that they put together, or maybe there could be a rematch between these two. Depends on how close this fight is and how much money they make.
You
There might
actually
be a rematch.
hit the nail I was thinking. I think they match up so well. And we'll have to see how it plays out in the ring, obviously. I think we see this again.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yep. Possibility.
All right, man. So, here we go, fellas. This is the part where we got to be tough. We got to make a decision. As moderator, I shall go last. Go.
damn.
Well, I'm gonna walk the plank first. I'm feeling brave on it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Shakur 115, 113, and I think it's gonna be controversial. I think Shakur is gonna be more consistent and land a bigger volume of punches. I do think Tio is going to land some big shots here and there. And I think it's going to be eye-catching because he just has an eye-catching style to begin with. And I think fans will be split on it. And I think we'll end up with close scorecards. But I think Shakur, because of consistency, as we've been talking over and over, that seems to be the theme of the night. I think consistency prevails in this fight too.
So what I think is, I think Shakur. I have Shakur 8-4. I think early. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a chess match all through and through. I think it's going to be pretty slow pace. I think Tio will has picked his spots to try to engage, just for I guess entertainment value, and to try to steal the rounds. But I think that Shakur, it's going to be a predominantly Shakur type of fight, and I think that when Tio starts to get desperate to kind of entertain the crowd, I think that Shakur will pull away in the championship rounds. So 8-4.
Good point on that. Trying to entertain the crowd. That's a good point. Go ahead, Zoe. I saw
Very
you
good
come off
point.
mute.
Okay, first of all, I think Tio's a great fighter. With that being said, I think there's three important factors that I didn't mention on my breakdown because it would have been a dead giveaway. Number one, Tio's, when it comes to defending the stab to the body, is terrible at that. I have never seen him
Yeah.
successfully defend a stab to the body.
That's a very good point.
Number two, like I said, because he doesn't take his head off the center line, what I saw in the second half of the Lomachenko fight, when Lomachenko decided to incorporate those lead left hands, he hit him too easily. And number three, Tio done had gas issues, gas tank issues. So I think when you add all three together, I think after round 8, Shakur is gonna beat the fuck out of him, and I'm not sure if he might stop him, but he's gonna beat the shit out of him after round 8. He's not gonna have anything left. He's gonna wear him down with them stabs to the body, and he's gonna become a fucking a punching bag after round 8. So I'm saying 117, 111. or a stoppage or a
God
late round stoppage.
damn.
Damn. Damn.
Hey,
Woo-wee.
all right, man. So
Woo-wee.
stop it.
That's
Stop
what
it.
Zoe should have
hey,
went.
that's
Zoe
what
should have went. Zoe
that's
should
what
have
I'm
went
talking
last with
about,
That's
that.
what I'm
dog.
talking about.
I
So
like that.
I do. I actually do. All right. I'm gonna go on and get mine. So here's the thing with me about this fight, right? As much nuances as it is, the one aspect of a fight that is always something with me is not only is Shakur, his IQ is slightly better. This is a fight both guys want, right? Let's make no mistake about it. Both guys want this fight. Both guys are hungry because they understand what it means. Shakur definitely understands what it means. Defensively is where I think the frustration comes in. And I do agree. I think it'd be even early, but I think once the fight start getting into that second half and the defense start coming into play and the counter punching start coming into play, we've seen Teofimo Lopez Sr. give his son bad advice over in the corner. And if he feels that more people are siding with Shakur than his son, I'm not going to say he's going to give him bad advice, but he's not going to give him the correct thing for him to do. He'll probably tell him, hey, get more on your front foot. Start throwing more punches. Well, Shakur Stevenson is very good at getting you in between those punches. He's very good at staying in that pocket, using that defense. The only issue with Shakur, I don't want him being overly defensive sound. Like in the Williams Zepeda fight, he focused too much on his defense and being on the ropes, which gives the illusion that the guy is doing something. Now, the good thing about it is he knows once he hears that crowd, that's when he's gonna start pumping shit out. I see Shakur Stevenson winning this fight, 115, 113, maybe even 116, 112. It's gonna be a close fight, but around about after round 8, I think that's when we start seeing that, that overall ability of Shakur Stevenson starting to kick in.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to my man Virtuoso's comment, and I think I said earlier I partially disagree. If I didn't say that, I meant to say that, but I didn't want to give it away. Okay, good. I didn't want to give it away while I was discussing this comment. The part where I agree with is the part where he's saying forcing him on the to be a come forward fighter could lead him to getting caught. I think that's exactly what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Because Teofimo Lopez has no other way to fight Shakur Stevenson. If you stand back and wait, Shakur Stevenson's going to stand back and wait, right? And then he might even jump in and pop your ass and jump back out. He's that fast. He's quick enough to do that, right? If he's sitting on the ropes, which he shouldn't, but let's say he does, and Teofimo Lopez decides to tee off, Shakur Stevenson is going to pot shot him and counter. Probably back him up. Remember what I said about that Tim Bradley stinger type of power, bro. When you don't see them punches coming, Paulie Malignaggi type power, which I think Shakur has better power than him, but I'm just stating.
All right, thank you.
He has better power than him. But I'm going to the extreme. A guy with Paulie Malignaggi power on a counter punch will make you reset if you don't see that punch coming. You see what I'm saying? And Stevenson has better power, better punch placement than a Paul Malignaggi and a Tim Bradley. So at the end of the day, this second part of Virtuoso's comment is exactly how I see the fight and why I would go with Shakur Stevenson. I agree with Zoe on the second half of the fight where Teofimo Lopez, because as we've seen in the past, even when he's looking good, he starts to falter in second half of fights. He starts off fast and then starts to falter. Shakur Stevenson is the same fighter throughout because his MO is controlling what his opponent thinks he can do. That's his MO, right? Oh, you're going to be a pressure fighter? Well, I'm about to counter that. Oh, wait, you think you can jab with me? Bet. Take this angle and take this jab. Let me change ranges on my jab, right? Like Zoe said, let me stick that body. Let me make you think about trying to be first when I touch that body. I'm saying, man, there's just too many tools in the chest of Shakur Stevenson that go in his favor to make Teofimo Lopez fight the kind of fight that he probably doesn't want to fight, right? Also, like I said, him wiltering in the second half of fights is going to be key. I ain't going to go to the extreme and say that Shakur is going to stop him, but I do believe there will be rounds, probably the championship rounds, where Shakur is landing several punches unanswered. Teofimo Lopez is getting desperate and missing to try to come back after getting caught with so many fucking well-timed punches, right? And it's going to look like in those championship rounds, it could be a wash for Shakur Stevenson. Now, I had to give like sound effects and oohs and ahs and goddams and all that earlier when everybody was saying their scorecards, but I really actually agree on the side of what Jarrell Davis said and kind of what Zoe said in terms of, and I think both said it too, in terms of a 116, 112, 8-4 type of scorecard. I have Shakur Stevenson by close unanimous decision. I think it'll be a 115, 113 on two scorecards, and the other one would be like a 116, 112 unanimous decision for Shakur Stevenson.
And then another thing I'm gonna add, when the fight's over, it's gonna be a lot of evidence in the face of Teo. When you look at Teo's face, you're like, oh shit, that ain't got fucked up, dog.
Yep. Yeah, he's gotten marked up. Like he got marked up against who was it that he got marked up against?
Boses got cut up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I remember he was looking all fucked up and he was like, I won the fight. And then he got marked up against Sandor Martin, I believe it was, because that's the fight where he's like, do I still got it? Right?
Yeah.
So those things matter to me when we talk about mental stability. And again, like I said, Teo is a guy that fights up, but I think his fighting up track record ends Saturday night, bro.
And one more thing, I guarantee at least one knockdown from Shakur. At least one knockdown, I guarantee.
Yeah, I can't agree with that.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I can't, yeah, because only because Shakur, the hand problem that Shakur has been having, he don't stay flat-footed and puts enough oomph on his punches for me. Why I see that happening, right? Like you got to be able to put some on your punches to do that.
The last time we saw Shakur consistently like really trying to put some leather on somebody, you'd have to go all the way back to Oscar Vet, where he was really like, I am going to put a lot of leather on this dude.
Yeah.
No, you ain't gotta go back that far. You can
Yoshino,
go back to
Arturum.
Yeah, Josh Potley, but Josh Potley was there to be hit like that though.
Because I really think like in the later rounds when Teo really start getting outclassed, me knowing who Teo is, he's gonna fucking throw one of those haymakers, leaping punching, and get fucking caught just like he did against Xander, Martin, and George. He's gonna get dropped once for a technical drop.
If Teo knows what's good for him, he doesn't. And he's fighting. This fight's in Brooklyn. It's in the Barclays.
Yeah.
If he knows what's good for him, he don't listen to the crowd. He don't, because another thing with him, he can get complacent in the ring, start doing stupid shit like Zoe was saying. It would be in his best interest not to do shit like that. Stay focused, nigga. Stay mentally focused. Bo made an excellent point about his dad. If he's losing rounds, his dad absolutely has no type of a game plan to help him adjust. He doesn't. Teofimo Lopez has gotten this far just off of pure talent and skill, guys. Not because of his dad.
Another thing that Teo does have going for him, based off what I see at the press conference, Teo clearly is in Shakur's head. Whether that affects what happens in fight night, we don't know, but he's clearly on that.
I disagree 100%. I highly disagree, because I know Shakur to me is just chilling. Teo's talking all this shit, calling Shakur slow and all, mentally slow and all that.
I mean, this nigga got this nigga rattled enough to get up and try to fight during the press conference. So I feel like he's getting that nigga's head.
But see, Zoe, there's a difference between you trying to get in my head and you being disrespectful on some bullshit.
Exactly. That's man shit, bro.
Yeah.
Like you would think I'm a nigga's in my head because I'm like that, and I'm gonna try to go for the jugular, bro. But no nigga gets in my head. But what you're saying would if it were me in that situation, I'm saying I would go for his jugular too. Then you would be sitting back, man, just that nigga in 2K's head, and that's not true. So as a man that would react in the same manner after being constantly disrespected, I'd have to say I don't agree with that. But Shakur is going to show it in the ring.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll see it. Yeah, but we'll definitely see it in the ring because I don't always take what I see at press conferences to heart. Because if you have a good team or you a fighter that's smart like Shakur, yeah, I'll get mad here, but in that ring, I already know that. Hey, that's I'll be defeated if I take this to the ring.
Yeah,
and Shakur has a cerebral style anyway. It's not like there's some, and we've never seen like even like if you go all the way back to the Joet Gonzalez situation, where there was actually a lot of personal things going on between the two of them. He goes in the ring, he's just all business. He's almost, I would say, like borderline like Floyd Mayweather, like a Terminator as far as like understanding what it is I'm going in the ring to do and how I'm going to execute it.
right.
Right.
Yep, I agree. Thanks for the correction, Virtuoso. I said the Barclays. I meant the Garden. Absolutely.
Yep. All right, man. Well, that's the show, everybody, man. We appreciate you guys joining in and jumping in with us, man. We're going to be back. We got more fights coming up. Hopefully, man, we have bangers like this, man. All right, man. Prodigy, take us out.
All right, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Go to 3kingsboxing.com for the latest and greatest in boxing news and pure, unadulterated boxing content. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be coming back with a lot more stuff in the future. We're trying to do these every Thursday. I will put shows up early on to let you guys know that we're showing up on a Thursday. It should be the same time. It will be 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern time, and it's going to be 6 o'clock Pacific. So we're going to be talking all kinds of things boxing, trying to bring this sport back. So please tune in with us. Look for the notifications when they pop up on YouTube and on Facebook. But until next time, we out.